Bibbity bibbity bop. Welcome to another exciting episode of Regular Mind Under Matter, right? It's not Patreon, right?
No, this is a regular one.
Ooh, regular Mind Under Matter. Don't worry, I'm not going to hold back. I'll still say outrageous things because, you know, humor is what brings us together, especially dark humor is what makes light of serious topics. Of course, there are lines we don't want to cross, but humor is an important cornerstone to our philosophical existence.
I like. I'm glad that you acknowledged that there's, of course, there's lines. We all don't. But if comics weren't there to cross those lines, how would we know where the lines were? Like people would just be walking around. Where are the lines around here? Is there a stand-up comedian available that can help me to identify the lines in my social life? Because I'm just not sure what's appropriate. It's like people are fucking helpless without the aid of fucking edgelord stand-up comedians pointing out that there's an ethnic person in the front row of their of their show. I wouldn't know how to behave publicly if I didn't once in a while see a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, we got to put duct tape on your mouth and shoot a poster. He said it. Coming this spring. The He Said It tour.
This is a Q&A episode. We did this for the first time in January. It's a 2022 new edition. We liked it so much we made a bonus episode of it that we put out in February, and we're trying to implement this pretty often because once again you guys asked us awesome questions, and it gives us a bunch to talk about. And it's instead of just the regular having one theme for a whole episode, breaks things up, keeps it a little loose, get some goofy ones, some serious ones. We're going to have fun. We do have a couple fun, awesome announcements for you guys, just in case you thought I was manic or something like that last week when I mentioned the Mind Under Festival. No, that's a real thing. It's happening. And it's going to be, we're only going to advertise it on the Mind Under Matter podcast, but anyone that listens,
can we do it on other people's podcasts if we go on them?
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Let's say like Pete Holmes has us on or something, or Mark Maron has us on.
We're not going to like hang posters around town and stuff like that. We're not going to like run social ads and stuff. Like we're after people that listen to this show, so we can have weird stuff at the festival where we have like the 900 hot dog stand and and things like that, and no one wonders if our Comante de Buffons show up in dress, like no one's wondering why there's just three dudes walking around in 1800s like French aristocrat attire.
Is this Steinbeck Fest or whatever it is? Hemingway Fest? What's the author fest where they dress up old style and they read books like on that show You?
Oh, I don't know. That's fun.
Yeah, it's like a Renaissance fair but for books.
I went to this Port Eliot Fest in England.
Port Eliot.
2019, and it had started as a book fest, and it was cool because it had all of these different talks and things going on in these different areas and all these different sections. You know, it was a much larger scale than the intimate experience that we're looking to provide, but it was the vibe that I was going for, where we'll do each of our podcasts live. Here we are, and Rainbow Brain Skull and Mind Under Matter and everything else. We'll probably do. I'm trying to get Sophia Rockland is seeing if she's going to be available at that time, so we can do the last Head Talks show, the tour of mine that got interrupted before the pandemic, and
closing the loop.
And she'll have all these books that I've been storing ever since, and fun blotter paper and stuff like that, and then music at night. So it'll be, I want people to meet one another. We're gonna have a bunch of we have a bunch of artist listeners. We've already had a bunch of people reaching out on Discord. And so we have a whole separate Discord channel talking about it. And that's, I want people to, especially because we have a lot of, I know from doing game nights and stuff, we have a lot of introverts. We have a lot of people that like cerebral content and are a little more introspective.
Why do we like cerebral content? And what are the underlying mechanisms that cause that feeling of enjoyment that we call love? And is it merely chemical, or is there some profound supernatural element to them?
So the type of person that might see video of like a trance dance party or something like that and be like, that's too much for me. I don't, we'll have, there's a tiny house like across from the lake that we've talked with the guy, and we'll have we can have DJ or even karaoke that I can stay the hell away from. But
no, you won't. We're dragging you there.
I hate karaoke.
With the arms wide open.
Is that what you're going? Yeah. I once, one of my first times doing karaoke, I was like, you know what? I'll just do, I was in Miami and I was in Miami on cocaine in front of like Comedy Central executives. And,
Joanne and Ann?
I'm not gonna say who was there.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that either. They've probably they've gotten to different jobs by now.
Yeah, they're all in different places, but and they weren't partaking anyway. It was me and this other comic, and it's Miami and whatnot, and I don't normally do karaoke, and I decided to, and I picked like a Soundgarden song or something. I'm like, oh, I like Soundgarden, forgetting that Chris Cornell has the best voice ever in rock and roll. And I'm like on cocaine trying to do a Chris Cornell voice, and it was especially bad.
I loved how humble he was with it. I remember hearing him on Mark Maron, and he talked about like, yeah, they can teach you how to do it. There's methods that they teach you. Because Mark Maron was like, well, how do you sound like that all night and play and keep it sustain? And he just was matter of fact, like just, oh no, there's methods they teach you. Like there was like, I am not special. You just haven't taken the 3-hour course that I took. And then just like that.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then he hung himself a year later. That was no good. I disapproved of that message. But at the time, what I heard recently is that it seems like the most rational thing ever when you do it.
Yeah.
To the person doing it, which I understand that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm not suicidal now, so I don't get it. Why would anyone do that?
It's a lot of I've been happy lately. I've been happy in all of the month of March. So much. Whenever I'm happy, I have to be like, what's the hypomanic alert at? Where are we at? Like what? I have signs of like I had a couple days where I was overly irritable. So like I'm probably like a little hypomanic. I've been staying up pretty late, but I've been sleeping full nights. So that's, if I'm sleeping shorter, that's a warning sign. But like the irritability is just a light. Well, that comes along with hypomania. Because what happens is most of the time I just work like a normal person. And then I get very enthusiastic about something and I work like crazy. And then I'm like, team, we have a zillion new things we all have to do because I have the energy for it at the moment. And I'm like, why isn't it getting done?
It actually helps, actually. That energy can go too far, but a little bit of that energy does help, I think.
Yeah.
At least with me, like someone stirring the pot a little bit brings me out of my bed funk, which... I mean, what a privileged thing to say that I can spend so much time in bed, but still, is it though?
I know.
Or am I the biggest sufferer in the world? Is it, am I a privileged boy, or
those are the two options?
Am I the most suffering person in the whole universe? I don't know.
You are the most.
Do the Reese. Do the Reese.
You're the most. That's my vote. Is you're the most suffering.
There's kids in Ukraine stepping on landmines right now, and I'm still like,
I can't get out of bed.
where's the motivation to do the stuff? Where is it? Even though it's never existed ever. It didn't exist when I was 20, and yet still I'm like, how come I'm not motivated? I used to have motivation, and it literally never existed. It was all about like, plowing through it. But it's funny how we still think that we're going to get Christmas presents of motivation. Like, we've never celebrated Christmas, but where's my Christmas present?
That's a lovely. So we've talked about before how one of the cruel aspects of life having evolved and existing within being an evolved organism is that evolution, there's tons of selection pressure for reproducing and passing those genes on and surviving long enough to do that, and then sometimes surviving long enough to help off your offspring, maybe even their offspring. But once you've kind of done all of your breeding that you're going to do as any species, like the salmon that we've talked about, there's no selection pressure to like improve anything or help you out. So you just fall apart in whatever way. And there's no reason why you couldn't just like after you're done breeding, just like a thing goes off in your brain and you're just infinitely happy. It's just that it's easier for things to fall apart than it is for things to go right. And that's just the nature of the universe.
Yeah. What's the line? Like, where our brains evolved to survive, not to be happy.
Yeah. But within that, there's so this is why like cancer, Alzheimer's, all of these things that happen as we age that are just horrific, and hopefully modern science can keep on improving upon and making our lives better. But it's a byproduct of this. But one of the things that maybe the human brain lucked out on that's related is our memory. It seems that there is like, as people age, generally speaking, again, this doesn't apply to everybody, there is this rosy colored lens that we look back on our childhood or our past motivation or whatever else, which is like, you speaking of Christmas, you remember the wonderful Christmas mornings when you got that incredible gift that made your year, or the
Donkey Kong Country.
You remember that, and you kind of forget about the I think we're around the age where we're still putting too much emphasis on the cringe of like childhood things that'll still pop up in the mind, but they're fading more. Those just keep fading. All of the childhood cringe just keeps on fading away. That's awesome. Yeah. And then you just remember like, oh, it was so good back when I was a kid. You forget 100%.
About the all berries.
Horrific Christmas that you had and awkward holiday things and gatherings and everything else, and you just remember those positive things.
Yeah, I knocked over the tree once. It was fine. There was a lot of shattered bulbs and everything, and it's the typical trying to put the star at the thing, and then the whole thing collapsed. But you don't remember that. You just remember the sweet Donkey Kong Country and the brief time you got to play it in the morning before you had to go do the general Christmas family get-together things, and while you're with your family and family friends, you're like, oh, I can't wait to get home and play a game. Can't wait to look at screen. I'm not going to be doing that in the future. I'm not going to spend all my time in the future looking at screens.
Did you just call it, because you said screen, I thought you just called it screen for a second, which is what we'll call it in the future. Are you going to go look at screen?
Yeah. Oh yeah, just one of them.
Instead of God, we'll just call it screen. Anyway, I got to go look at screen.
We're halfway there. Google kind of is God.
Screening Well, screening's a thing for movies, but that'll be like a verb eventually. Where like I gotta go screen a little bit, or I've been screening too much the last week or so.
Yeah, it's an interesting, with social media at least, like an interesting 10-year plus experiment we're still in.
Screen told me about what was going on in the Ukraine today, and man, Screen made it seem horrifying.
Yeah. I mean, paper was no better. Like, it used to be the paper, which was real, I guess, to a certain extent. I can't tell you what was propaganda and what was real, but news was the newspaper.
Yeah. It's interesting that we are getting to live through so many mediums of things, and so much, because I'm sure that change seemed rapid and abrupt for most humans in history that lived to be 40 to 80 years old or whatever. But I mean, in terms of like, once you had papyrus, and then that just set the world on fire, and then some like tiny innovation of like the ink being a little more permanent or something like that,
drying
would take
faster.
100 years,
Yeah. I was thinking, like, if someone from the past 100 years ago came to the 80s, would be like, I'm from the past, what is a VCR? But also someone from 2022 could travel to the 80s, be like, I am from the future, what is a VCR? Like, to know what a VCR is, you have to be just in this little sliver of time.
Oh man, it just, if you there was a question from
we haven't done questions yet. We're doing it again.
There was
Today we're here to talk to you about seal muscles and why it's less than their fat and how that helps them propel through the water. But first, 2 hours of non-related to seal anatomy stuff.
You know so much about seal propelling. Very impressive. There was something about
about the future.
It was about, one person had something about going back in time and talking to your past self, and it was it Megan Death? I can't find it now.
Shout out to Megan Death. Who doesn't love a good Megan Death? Good art, Megan, check. Good listener, check.
Great listener.
Likes heavy music, awesome. Check.
Mm-hmm. So
that's 3 strikes. You're in, Megan Death. You're in the permanent good person club here at Mum. I just started that.
She's always active and writes questions. So she's one of the first members of the good person club. If you could put all of your past selves in a room, what would it look like? How would the personalities mesh? What advice would you anticipate giving your younger self?
It just turns into an orgy up to a certain age.
That was a good disclaimer to throw in there. You wouldn't assault your
We're all just assaulting 5-year-old me. It's okay, it's me. I didn't sign up for this. And then you see where the cycle started, like, because it's the cycle of abuse. And that's why Future Self does that horrible act, because so you don't want to start that loop. You don't want to start it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to do that. But instead, I might just, I don't know, I'm in the mood to do questions instead. So what's the question? What would we do?
She said, any wisdom from younger self? I don't even know if we're going to answer this question, but it just made me think of, with our conversation, any wisdom from your younger self that maybe your older self forgot. I was just thinking, it just made me think, going back to that Christmas when I got the Nintendo. That was my best childhood Christmas ever. It was, I think I talked about it before. It was like, I didn't get it. And then I woke up Christmas morning, like, for sure Santa will bring it. Okay. And then wake up. and there's just I just have one gift, and it's this huge box. I'm like, God, what is it, like some big stuffed animal or some garbage like that?
I love the mismatched box trick.
Open it
Never
up.
gets old.
Nintendo, the 8-bit Nintendo. Oh my God. But if I could go back and tell that kid and just start at the timeline from then of just what would the advances, just showing what like Mario Brothers would look like starting there, and then explaining the internet, and then like in like flat screen TVs and any movie from, just show them some absolute garbage movie, like a new Jurassic Park or something. And no offense for our Jurassic Parkers out there. And
there's Jurassic Parkers? I didn't know it was a big enough franchise. Or maybe there are people that like it a lot.
I haven't seen any new ones, but yeah, just the sheer number of changes that have happened in my 41-year existence. It's abnormal. It's not things. If you look back through history, you look at like timelines of big events, and it's like, oh yeah, that was like 600 years between this point and this other thing happening.
Yeah. No, we hit an upward exponential growth growth spurt. What is it called? Whatever. When the thing goes up in a straight line, it's still doing the twist. But yeah, before you would raise your kids as farmers, and they would raise their kids as farmers. And maybe there was a new like rake or something with a slightly better handle grip, but that's it. No giant leaps. And now we're nothing but giant leaps, to the point where if something big doesn't happen every couple of years, we're like, what gives? How come the deep fake stuff isn't better than it was in 2019? Or how come the graphics aren't 10 times better than last year? Like, we kind of expect our technology to always be multiplying, but there's no reason it should always multiply.
Yeah.
But we've come to expect it to.
I know. And upset if it doesn't.
Yeah. Do you remember in Parks and Rec where they did that last season?
I've never watched it.
Oh, well, spoiler alert, but not really spoiler alert. But the last season, they do the thing where they're like 3 years later, and they just imagine all the characters 3 years into the future. So this would be like 2015 going into 2018, and all their phones are clear, and it's got like hologram projection and stuff. So they were anticipating that, oh, in 3 years, our iPhones won't just be these black rectangles. They'll be see-through. They can project a keyboard that you write on, but none of that happened. We didn't predict that right.
Still, but I just forgot about cell phones and cameras in your pocket and videos. If I knew someone with a camcorder when I was a kid, I'd be like, whoa, that's amazing. They can make movies, and you would never want to watch it because you'd have to watch the whole tape. I remember people would film a thing, and then you'd sit and you'd watch like a whole someone would record someone's wedding. And then you would sit and watch an unedited version. How horrifying.
And my darling, you look wonderful tonight. Just 45 minutes of blurry dancing. I mean, if it means something to you, but it's got to mean something to you personally.
Oh.
Then it's fine. But other than that, yeah, I agree with you. It's too long.
All right. So we haven't really even gotten into questions, and mostly because I have another thing that I need to announce. And by the way, just because our editor, Matt McCool, who's editing this and listening to like, oh, Shane's been irritated with me as he's like, poor guy still drinking his own urine.
Me too. Yeah, me too. I'm pissed.
No, I haven't been. No, I haven't. I've just been irritable. Like I go to Pickleball and like a thing happens, I'm like, oh, why am I just so mad right now? Like about some stupid thing.
Like what? Like losing a point or someone behaving badly?
Like recently,
or someone saying they listened to your podcast or something.
Someone was like there was this place that we go to on a certain time, and there's 3 courts set up, and someone ahead of time on the message board is like, hey, can I bring a couple friends? They've never played before. They're visiting from out of town. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So you'll just have a court to yourself to like play with your friend. He shows up with his 2 friends that have never played. And then I show up there and they're just playing on a different, and he goes and plays with just like the other people playing regular pickleball and has just, so now we all just have to teach his dumb friends how to play pickleball. Well, he just goes off and I'm watching him just having the time of his life playing with people that know how to play. And I'm playing fucking patty cake with his friends.
How old is this guy?
Trying to teach him how. He's like 55 or something, or
unacceptable
50 or something. Unfucking acceptable. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? But like my reaction to it was, so I mean, I wasn't the only one that was like, come on now, but way more. I felt myself like a little shorter and stuff recently.
Social contract broken. Unspoken social contracts being broken is highly irritating.
One of the signs of hypomania, but that's a real subtle one. No synchronicities, no grandiose anything other than like the festival and everything. But I'm planning it in a pragmatic way and whatnot. And I'm not. So anyway, just feeling energized and enthusiastic because, Ramin, we announced last week that we got our first ever Lunatic $1,000 a month tier on Patreon. We got our second Lunatic. We got a second Lunatic, and it was before our episode even came out announcing it. They weren't even primed by that. It was just a coincidence that in the same week we had another Lunatic sign up. This one is not anonymous. You can find him on Instagram. He's an incredible artist who we're going to be plugging regularly on this show. I didn't tell him that, but he's finding out now. Brighton Kilgore. So if you go to Be Right On Brighton.
Is Kilgore a real last name? Because that's a warrior last name there.
Who knows? Maybe he changed it for his photography. But he's a cool photographer for live events. He's out of Asheville. He's going to help us get a venue in Asheville too, because I was maybe looking into exploring a new venue. I've done some cool ones in the past, but Asheville has a ton of awesome places. And so Be Right On. Cool artist, and he'll also be at the Mind Under Festival. Muff for short. He's going to be diving into our Muff and probably bringing some art and stuff there as well. So we're going to be presenting 2 straight jackets at Muff to our Lunatics, and I'm thrilled. What are we doing with that money? And are we finally paying ourselves? Not quite, everybody. But we reached our goal of we're getting new cameras for this show. We're going to finally have everything that we wanted in our year goal, and we've accomplished it before the end of the year. I didn't think we were going to do it. Patreon came through, and on the last what's the metaphor for last minute things in
photo
sports?
Photo
finish, yeah, sure.
At the buzzer,
yeah.
One There's by a nose, one by the skin of your teeth.
Yeah, all of the things.
A Hail Mary.
Yeah, and yep, and so we're getting, the camera is of course not in stock, and we're waiting for it to be we finally have the budget to do it, and we got to wait till that's in stock because there's all sorts of chip problems or something like that.
They're going to missiles
backed up in the world.
Everything is going into heat-seeking missiles and AI to mine crypto. All the technology is being used for the worst thing. Not really. I mean, it's both. I know there's benefits to missiles and to mining crypto and stuff, but most of the use of the technology, you got to admit, it's going to the worst stuff.
It is because we're apes, and it's just such an instinct. We're tool makers that have a fondness for like things that go bang and aggression and flashy.
And a cheap buck.
And a cheap buck.
A quick buck.
Yeah.
That's something I would tell past self.
Guaranteed destruction.
at the orgy in the past, like from the previous question.
Orgy in the past, and during the orgy, when would you bring up nuclear war? At what point in your orgy?
30% in.
Yeah, that's solid timing. Cool things off a little bit. What would you say?
Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, I guess it's not as funny now.
What you would say to your past self regarding the advances of war stuff and missiles?
Just to not in advance of the war stuff, but in general, I would say like always make the long-term play. That's a fault throughout all of the history. I'm like, oh, if I just made the long-term play instead of giving into fear and doing the short-term thing, always go for the long play, because before you know it, it's 5 years into the future.
Yeah.
And that kind of plays into the getting the new cameras and stuff. Like that's a long-term decision thing.
Yeah, because once again, it doesn't just mean improved visual experience for this show, because most people are audio listeners. If you're on Spotify or YouTube, you can flip on the video feature and check out me laughing at Ramin's orgy joke and losing my shit or whatever. But
it's not a joke.
But we'll also be able to use those cameras for doing live shows, which we're going to string together. A little tour after a Mind Under Fest, and so
it's gonna feel good to get decent at stand up again.
Yeah,
like imagine getting that flow when you're doing sets every night and you're in the flow instead of like just how's everyone doing tonight? Let's see what I got here, like that bullshit.
I feel like I've been on stage. I emceed Meet Delic last fall. I did one. I hosted one show in Colorado for a friend, like a small like gathering thing, and then I did a birthday party recently. That's it. That's all I've done during COVID. And every time I'm like, this is easy. Like I know how to do this. But leading up to it, I've been incredibly anxious. Like almost. I would say a little bit of stage fright, and it had been before COVID. There was rarely a situation where like I wished I would get a little bit of stage fright once in a while. Like, God, I haven't had stage fright in so long. Like just to feel something, I was getting a little robotic up there.
Yeah. That's a pitfall to getting too comfortable, and then you become too stand-up-y sometimes. Not you, but people. I don't think you really fell into that.
I watched some of my old material to get ready and be like, well, I might need to remember this stuff if like some of this new stuff I'm writing isn't working. And I watched, I'm like, it's too fast, it's too slick. This is this is someone who's said this 100 times. This is like, it needs to have a little more of a casual vibe. It needs to feel a little more like it's coming off of the top of your head, or you're at least playing around with the idea a little bit. Not like no one talks that perfectly that fast.
Unless you're like Jimmy Carr or something, but that's like part of the brand.
Right.
I think you feel like it is pre-written, but also that it's very tight.
Yeah. So things are exciting in the Mind Under Matter universe right now.
Thanks to your support, which we still need.
Thank you, Brighton.
Very much.
Check him out on Instagram. He has awesome work. And I was thinking, because I wonder how many of our listeners are actually artists, or if it's just that so many of our Patreon members are artists, because it's probably like the waiter thing, like if you're a waiter, you're a better tipper because you know what it's like, the fucking struggle, what it's like to like try to scramble to put a few things together to get the equipment and supplies or whatever that you wanted, and not finding time to do all of it and having to hustle and get other things done to fund the thing that you're passionate about.
I might be off with this, but I think it's also the cash thing. Like people I know that were servers for a really long time, they would just put handfuls of 20s into tip jars because I think they just got that cash that day. So, and whereas someone that doesn't get paid in cash, they might be like, oh, this is my only $40 that I took out from the ATM 2 weeks ago. I got to hold on to my little cashes. But then people who, even if they have less, it's like, whatever, this is cash I just got here. I'm going to pay it forward here. I'm not going to make rent tomorrow, but this is the way it goes.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that too. Either way, I'm excited because we already have a bunch of our artist listeners signed up. I'm going to reach out to some people at Duke because I want it to be I'm thinking I'll get some anthropologists to talk about like the evolution of like festivals and celebrations and stuff, like people that live with hunter-gatherers that I know work at Duke through parts of the year.
We get to be the end of the evolution thing. Like it starts with this caveman festival and then all the way up until right now. And that's the peak of the evolution of the festival.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be fun to try to get people to, because at science conferences, they have like these these like stands that they set up with like, here's my data, this is the project that I'm working on, and it's all, if a normal person went through it, it'd be like, what the fuck am I it's all for scientists, but it'd be cool to have some people, because there's some really cool people at Duke to come and that would just be hanging out there with like a little science fair stand that you could just go up to and ask them about their work and stuff.
Hell yeah,
because
vinegar volcanoes.
Exactly. Because we're also going to have, I already know we're going to have people like doing art and giving readings and stuff. So I'm hoping it'll be a nice Mind Under Matter mix of eclectic, like you can get sciencey stuff. You can get your fortune told. You can get a tarot reading, a whole bunch of different things. Music, chill conversations, and I
want to jam out to the Mind Under Matter theme song with the largest ensemble we can put together. So if you bring a kazoo or a tambourine or a tuba or whatever you got, you're in the band for just that one song.
Yeah. We haven't had musicians reach out yet, but there'll be more people on Discord soon. So anyway, all exciting stuff. Thank you, Brighton. Be right on Instagram. More plugs in the future. I'll do another Patreon question quick.
Do it. Sling it on me.
So very related. Mitch Drew at playlist_alchemist on Instagram said, if you could choose any act currently in existence, what would be the first major live event that you would attend when like you felt safe enough in a large audience? So basically just like
any music or comedian or anything?
Anything.
That's tough, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Number one music or comedy act that I would see. I don't know. I got to pick something. I'll pick Thundercat right now. When I see Thundercat.
Thundercat?
Yeah.
Who's that?
He sings, plays bass, and is very funky. Has like kind of a octave visor effect on the bass a lot of the times. Some songs include Dragon Ball Do-Rag or Them Changes. Aside from that, I'd love to see Wolfpack. Wolfpack would be fun. Anderson .Paak would be a fun live show.
I don't know any of these people. These are good recs.
Comedians, I'd love to see. I mean, he's a friend of mine, but I'd love to see Brent Weinbach do a long set. He's not a friend of mine, but I'd love to see. See Rory make stuff up.
Yeah. I
saw Rory recently at Good Heroin not that long ago. So that was, but he did really well, and it's like a shorter set. But I'd love to see the Chili Peppers recently because John Frusciante is back. That's a very good live show, regardless of your. I mean, if you absolutely hate their music, of course, maybe you wouldn't like it, but they're a particularly good sounding live music act. Even though Anthony Kiedis forgets the words and is like off key, but the music part of it, Flea carries that band, and John is magic, and Chad Smith is very solid. So, okay, those are my picks. What did I say? Wolfpack, Anderson .Paak, Thundercat.
Speaking of the Chili Peppers,
I might see Dua Lipa at the end of the month. We'll see.
Ooh. Speaking of Chili Peppers, I was just going back through the musical discovery episodes, which is like episode 41 or something like that. And because we have a new thing on Spotify that we're going to get to do, we just had a meeting with them recently. They have a music and talk feature for this service that we started using, Anchor.fm. And we're allowed to take any music from Spotify and put it in a thing of ours. And so I'm going to, but it's only available on Spotify and it's audio only right now. So we're just going to do a re-release, and we just passed 200 Patreon people. So we're hoping to release this at 222, which will hopefully have happened by the time that you're listening. So I've already been going through the whole music episode and finding like 3 songs, and Ramin and I are finding like 3 songs from every one of the music, or every one of the bands that we mentioned. And sometimes we mention specific songs and stuff. So you'll get to listen back in a re-released episode and hear like 100 different songs. And then I'll also make just a playlist for it too. So you can just have the playlist that goes along with that episode. So just another thing that the extra Patreon support was able to pay Matt McCool to edit a extra bonus episode for us. So looking forward to that too. Bunch of cool stuff. I think I'd be interested in seeing OK Go, just because they have the best music videos I've ever seen in my life. And I hear that their live shows, they try to do some Did you ever look up any of their videos? Well,
I did when it was recent, but I'm trying to, because is that the one where like a different weird instrument from every new town that he goes to?
Oh,
like he's always incorporating. Who's the guy that's incorporating different instruments?
That's Metronomy. That's
Metronomy. Okay, Go. Is that not the Japanese band, right?
OK Go is the one that I mentioned that Steven Pinker in one of his Harvard classes in perception has this video for like identifying optical illusions. They work with like teams of people they'll do like a video of theirs will be like basically like a huge domino thing that goes along with the song, and they always do like I gotta do a deep dive still. Crazy. Their music.
But I remember which one you mean now.
Yeah, their music's pretty good. It's like it's nothing I find myself just listening to, but their videos are the best music videos that there's ever been, in my opinion. And so that would be just a cool, sometimes there's a movie where it's like, well, I'm not going to watch that at home, but in the theater, this might be. And I feel like OK Go would kind of be like that.
Yeah. That's me with baseball games. I'm not going to watch it on the TV, but if you got an extra ticket, I'll go get a dog in one of those giant baseball hat shaped beer mugs or whatever they got.
Yeah. Same. And then I think Roger Waters has a tour again this year.
Does he bring lots of lasers? Or is he like, that's different. You want to see me? I'm like doing less lasers now. Does lots of lasers?
It's spectacular. So I'm friends with the guy that flies the inflatable pig for the Roger Waters tour. So I get hooked up in special seats and stuff like that. And the last tour they just had I've never seen anything quite like it, but they built like a fake they built like hanging down from the ceiling. It was so long. It was just this huge like other screen that they turned into like the White House and stuff during certain songs about like pigs or whatever. And they just did all of their.
That's not very nice. Calling our leaders pigs.
He did all of the stuff that was like from decades ago, the anti-establishment stuff that was, but instead it was like, they turned the pig into Trump and stuff. It was a spectacular event. And, it was
2017
just because it was 2017.
Is that when from Psychonautics, is that the concert where he was like telepathically communicating with you?
Yeah. But it was incredible. And all the visuals were really cool. And there's not going to be that much, they're not, he's still got it right now. Both him and David Gilmour are still fantastic right now.
How old are the blokes? 78?
That could change like next year, like something could happen. And like, plus Roger Waters especially is like, seems like kind of a grumpy-ish character.
Understandable.
Yeah, Roger Waters is 78.
Holy shit.
I mean,
nailed
he
it.
looks...
I nailed it right on the dot.
Too.
I win the big stuffed animal.
I've met his personal trainer who just like keeps him... He looks... The dude's in better shape than I am. At least when I saw him 4 years ago or whatever. And so there's not too many more opportunities. So that would be another one. As far as comedians,
do you think personal trainers stress out and they're thinking like, oh, I hope they don't cheat tonight. I hope they don't like eat a bunch of donuts. And then they're like, good. They haven't been, but I wonder if they think of humans as their little projects. Like, oh, I hope they hit that goal weight next week.
I don't know.
Like little plants that they don't want the plants to get mites or the squirrel to knock it over.
Well,
I hope my plants are doing well.
You would want your clients to do. I fell out of Tommy at Hedonic Health, who was helping me and gave me a free month. One of our Patreon supporters in like December and January. I ended up. It was once Omicron was really popping off. I'm like, why am I just starting to go to the gym now? And I'm just like irritated that I'm in a mask and everything else while trying to like really exert myself and everything. And so I dropped out of it while I was also, February was an awful month for me, but I quit playing pickleball. I'm like, I've gone almost 2 years without getting COVID, which is like a miracle.
Yeah. There's only 10 of us.
There's like 10 of us. I'm like, I'm not going to go to. And so anyway, I need to get back into it now. But Tommy with Hedonic Health, he's not on social media or anything, but he is on Discord. He says he has a pair of questions for us.
Nice.
That he thinks fits into the void and visionary dichotomy. he says, do you have any habits or beliefs that you know aren't scientifically validated or maybe even contrary to current scientific understanding, but you still find value in them or have a feeling they could turn out to be true? And a similar follow-up is, have you ever had any habits or belief that you gave up after learning that there's scientific evidence against it?
I would say the ones that the woo-woo stuff that I engage in with no scientific empirical proof is the Abraham Hicks / Neville Goddard school of thought of the manifesting things by aligning to it, not by thinking happy thoughts or thinking you're going to get a bunch of money, but like internally, like imagining what it feels like to be financially stable, what it feels like to be healthy, what it feels like to do that, like aligning yourself in that so that you're attracting that future. That's a completely not scientific thing that I do as a habit. And then the things I gave up, probably vitamins. Not like all vitamins, but you know, when you're like, oh, okay, I'm taking fish oil, I'm taking BX3, I'm taking E. coli, I'm taking salmonella, and then I'm like, I don't need to take E. coli and salmonella anymore. Nope. I think those are bad for you, actually.
I think that it would be difficult to find a supplement that does anything at all that I can think of outside of if you are deficient.
I take prebiotics and probiotics, and that's good with bathroom health.
Yeah.
Word to your mother.
I'll tell her you said hi. Supplements are my thing because I've gone through here's a story that becomes gross. So, you know, like by the way, like I probably come off as, I know I'm a skeptical person and can be cynical and everything else. So I probably come off as closed-minded to some people. Maybe I am in some regards. But there's always been periods of time in my life when I've definitely tried the like various, like, okay, I'm going to read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or whatever. And, you know, did help a little bit while I was reading it, or, you know, tried this, you know, I did CrossFit for a good amount of time and it helped me. And I've done the fish oil, I've done protein shake. I've tried a bunch of different things. There was a time when I was like 19 or 20, and did I ever tell you I tried doing like the wolf sleep thing? Did we talk about that on here?
I don't think so.
It's like the Kramer thing too, where supposedly Benjamin Franklin did this,
like sleep 15 minutes every hour or something.
It's like every 3 to 4 hours. It was like 15 or 20 minutes or something
sounds like a full-time job. And
I did it during the week. I did it for like 5 days where I wouldn't sleep at night. I would take a nap. It's part of how I'm so good at napping. As I am incredible at napping, but I would sleep for like 20 minutes or something like that. I forget what it was. Maybe it was 25 every
4 hours.
Maybe it was every 2. Was it every 2 hours? 4 hours? 4 hours.
It's like 25% of the day sleep.
It was fucking insane. Like to keep the regiment of it and everything. And then on weekends I would sleep normally, which I don't think you're supposed to. You aren't supposed to do any of it. It was crazy, but I did it. I was working third shift at a factory, and I was too anxious to start stand up and like move and try it. And so I was like, maybe I need a backup plan. So I took a semester at tech school. I took like 18 credits or something like that. And I was working overtime, third shift, like 50, 60 hours a week or something like that. And I'd sleep during every break. I would take a nap. And I did that. And it was so crazy because I would be in a class on Monday and then I'd have a test on the thing on a Friday. But it was like I just heard, it was all one day. It was, I hadn't slept. It was like, I just heard that thing. And so I went to GNC, which is, I've joked on here before about how like doctors don't have time for you. You know, it's not, that's the problem. That's why people don't like, have a distrust in doctors, because you get like 15 minutes. There's not much they can tell you if it's just a physical or whatever. They're doing serious stuff, which involves like poking you in the butthole and like doing all these other like very uncomfortable things and taking your blood and running scary tests.
Hopefully
and
not
telling
from
you
your
you have
butthole,
cancer and everything else. Whereas like you go to any alternative thing and it's all customer service. You know, it's all hands on. It's all laying it on thick. But you walk into
one
a
guy in a
GNC.
polo shirt in a very well lit room, like with a shaved head and very big upper body, like just ready to tell you everything you need.
Yeah, and I went into a GNC and I like told them what I was doing. I think, if I'm remembering this right, they're like, they didn't question it or anything. They were just like, okay,
cha-ching. Sleep deprived people are 50% more likely to buy stuff they don't need.
Imagine a 20-year-old is like, yeah, I've been trying out this thing where I don't sleep ever. I sleep 15 minutes or I sleep 20 minutes every 4 hours. That's it. And I had, so I go to this GNC and I told them like I needed something for like more energy or something, you know. They're like, energy? Yeah, we got you. What else do you need? What do you want? Muscles, or you want memory? Like, you know, they'll just give you any, you want to be perfect? Here's just like, just buy these 20 different things.
That'd be so awesome if they all worked. Imagine having energy, memory, and being hyper intelligent and strong. Not just having a bunch of like capsule stuff like floating around in your stomach. How are we going to digest all this animal bone? Sell you, what is it called? Damn it, gelatin. Yeah. How are we going to digest all this gelatin?
Just
it's like
all
6
gelatin.
pounds of gelatin in here, each in an individual casing.
And one day I am working third shift, and I had been doing this for months, by the way. I'd been living this way for months, but the supplements were new because my body was starting to reject this new life. And I'm taking these supplements, and then just one day I just like felt like, that's strange. Why is my asshole just feel like it's leaking? It just...
The simplest explanation is often the most correct. The answer is in the question. Why does it feel like my asshole is leaking?
And I go to the break room and I just look at my underwear and there's just like this tan. I'm sorry, everyone. A trigger warning. Just a tan, like syrupy liquid, unlike anything I had seen.
Oh, the worst
before.
syrup ever. I don't remember buying red toilet paper. Uh-oh. Or was there blood or no blood? Must be special Valentine's edition toilet paper. Oh, no.
So I cut out the supplement. I don't know if this happened right around the same time because there was like month 3 of this sleep routine, there's strange stuff was starting to happen. Like I started hallucinating here and there. Like once in a while, I would just like see a person in the middle of the road when I was driving. You know, and I'd be like, "Oh," and it just
false positives better than false negative.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just starting to hallucinate things, and now my ass is leaking. And one day I fell asleep behind the wheel, and I woke up like I was in a interstate, and you know, like the median in between the two sides of the interstate. I woke up driving down the middle. It was like it was in snow too, and so I'm like going 70 miles an hour in the middle of a median, and I wake up to just snow shooting over my car, and a bridge was coming up that was over, an overpass was coming up that had like the structures in the pedestal, the columns holding up the bridge were in the fucking median. And so I just yanked the wheel and I just flew back up, and I like Dukes of Hazzard back onto the interstate, and the roads were slippier. I'm just sliding around going very fast, and I straightened out the car somehow. And I don't know if that happened first or the ass leaking. I think that happened, or maybe that made me get the supplements or something like that. It didn't make me give up the sleep. Yeah,
chicken or the egg with the ass leaking.
And then, but I think it was ass leaking day. That's when I quit school. I was like, not worth it.
Wait, which school? Like high school?
No, this is this technical school. I was taking 18 credits of like to get an accounting degree or something, and like figure out like some 2-year thing that I could get as a backup plan. If comedy didn't pan out, which I wasn't getting up the nerve to do. And so, yeah, and then I've given supplements a try since that time. And those things are a racket, generally speaking. And people are really defensive about they love their supplements.
Because some might work,
like their vitamins and stuff.
Whether they're placeboing it to work, or some of them, they do need it. Like, I don't know well enough about it, but I just have heard that most of the time it's expensive pee. But sometimes you might be vitamin D deficient, or you do need B12 or some kind of something. Maybe you do need iron supplements, even though you could just lick a penny or something. But it's not the same. It doesn't absorb the same if it's not in a gelatin capsule and it's not blue.
So yeah, those are things that I gave up after, and I've had people on my show that I mean, it's not like science doesn't know everything, but I've never had. You don't talk to many scientists that are like, we figured it out. It's the men's multivitamin,
Centrum,
Centrum
Silver.
Everything.
Yeah,
solves everything. Can't believe more people aren't taking it.
I took it on a handful of times. I've taken Centrum on an empty stomach, and no good. You threw up.
Yeah,
throw up or almost throw up.
Oof.
I think I threw up nothing. Like the reflex happened, like to throw up, but I didn't have any food in my stomach, so I just heaved, I guess.
But
it's a gross episode, leaking butts and dry heaving.
Yeah, this is a fun one though. This is a hot one.
Yes, Dukes of Hazzard. We're flying all over the place.
Going back to your thing about tapping into how the future will feel. Well, when I first started getting serious about like, I'm going to put more science in my act, I'm going to really learn science, I just had to keep on telling myself, I'm like, 5 years from now, I'm going to be so smart. If I just read, instead of like doing whatever other thing that I actually want to do, if I read this book, even though I don't feel like it, and I just do that all the time, I'm going to be really smart 5 years from now. And when I'm my best self, I tap into that same sense. But one thing I've been doing lately, So, I've had a problem with this game, Teach You. I'm addicted to it. Because it'll take like 30 to 40 minutes for a game. And so that's another thing that's been going well. I haven't drank at all in March.
Cheers.
And I have, because I can't just have one like Ramin. And I'm now back into pickleball and longer days. Everything's going great. We got exciting things happening with Mom. But when I go to open Teach You, I'm like, how will I feel 40 minutes from now instead? And what else could I do so that 40 minutes from now, I feel better than I do right now, or good? Not better than I do right now, but good, And it's always just like, I could just read instead. If I just read, I'll feel great in 40 minutes. Or if I just check this thing off of my list, I'll feel great in 40 minutes.
Yeah, getting over that hump, though. Getting over that hump, because the Teach You thing or the comfort is like instant. You feel comfortable. But the other thing, like writing that email or paying that bill or getting that book off the shelf, it's like a little hump that you have to get over, where it's like, I am bored, but I'm going to be even more bored if I do the thing I'm supposed to do. The thing I'm supposed to do? Are you kidding? That's the worst thing I could possibly do.
So
throw exercise in there? Forget it.
Here's something I started doing, and maybe we can implement this as a mind under matter ritual. So I've been doing things like that, where it's, especially now that we had a little support come in, this festival's happening, and not only am I excited, but I'm also like deeply aware that all of the stuff that we're putting together, like the book and all of these other things, takes tons of work. But also that this time of year is just like when I'm like just more capable generally. I thrive in the sun, like many people in the spring and stuff. And so I've started implementing 2 Easy Tuesdays to myself, which is just anytime I have just the thing I've been telling myself that I was going to do, and that seemed like a good idea, and I'm just putting off for whatever reason. I just, every Tuesday, I think of a few of those, and I'm like, too easy. Oh, too easy. And for those of you that are like haven't followed the show, so in Australia, they have a lovely disposition, which is basically when problems come up, they're just like, no worries. They're like, oh, too easy. Even when it's incredibly difficult things. And bringing that approach to
Stage 4 breast cancer, too easy.
Too easy.
Stage 8.
And it's helped. So I say that to myself of just like, too easy, and it's too easy to, and then sometimes it just bleeds into other days, or it makes the only downside of it is like sometimes I'll put things off on Sunday or Monday or whatever. So I'm like, I'll just wait till Too Easy Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's perfect.
It's like going to the gym on December 29th. Like, no, I'll go on Jan 1, because then I start the year off with a bang.
Yeah, but it's been helping. Quite a bit. Like, I forget what the week before was, but last Too Easy Tuesday, to write this book that we're working on. It's like a coffee table book, a picture of each episode, and then some fun stuff about each episode on the side and quotes and stuff. Know how to do it. It's just a matter of listening back to every single Mind Under Matter episode. And I hate listening to myself. You're fun to watch. I enjoy watching you a second time. I can't
Zibbity
listen
bang
to
bang
Here
big
We Are.
boom. Zibbity bang bang big boom. Zibbity bang bang big boom. Enjoy this line the second time you listen to it.
Put that on repeat. Matt should just loop that there. there's, I can't like me watching my stand up to prep for these shows. It's just like, oh my God, it's not like it's horrifying when I'm actually doing it. Although I will cringe and stuff here and there if I say something a little, I notice every little detail about myself of something that I wish I would have improved. And then you're watching it in the past yourself do this thing that you have no control over. So you're like a ghost haunting your past self. Like, no.
Get your hands out of your pocket. Stop saying like. Have you ever like been to the grocery store and there's like 3 people in front of you and the front guy's got like, he's buying champagne, but he didn't like bring his ID.
And exactly. It's just like that. And so, I started listening to this music episode because not only that was a daunting one, because it also required like a couple days of work to find songs and figure out the cut points and everything else, to re-release that. But, I think that, so I've started doing this Too Easy Tuesday. I think we should implement it as a Mind Under Matter ritual. I'll make one of the channels Too Easy Tuesday on Discord, so people can go and share their own Too Easy Tuesday thing that they checked off each Tuesday.
Bought my son a birthday present today after his birthday was 3 months ago. Finally got him a gift. Too easy.
Too easy. Exactly. And
apologize to my friend for not picking up from the airport. Too easy.
And we're now changing the release of the show. So when we started this, we just picked Monday just because. Started
alliteration.
The work week.
Mum Mondays.
Mum Mondays, yeah. But now we're switching to Too Easy Tuesdays because we didn't have Too Easy No Worries at the start of Mum.
But now it's a deeper meaning than alliteration itself.
Exactly. So new releases, Mind Under Matter, every Tuesday on Too Easy Tuesdays. It'll be easier for you to remember. And we've kind of restructured things so we can deliver things on time, which we only missed one week in our first year of Mind Under Matter. That's incredible. And we've had like 4 or 5 times where we were like a day late or something because some snafu happened. So
yeah, I didn't have internet for a month once.
Yeah. And
we still got the eps out.
And there's next week on the show, we have a special surprise guest. We're doing 1 guest a year. We might add more than that, but our goal with this show was to do 1 a year when we started. We might start doing it quarterly or something, but we have a special surprise guest, our very first guest on Mind Under Matter. And should we put in the YouTube comments or something, guess at who you think our guest is going to be. What do you think the chances are that they would guess?
I'll give it a 3% chance.
Yeah, I'd give it like 3-2.
Unless we mumbled it like before or something.
It would be, I would give it like a 0.3% chance. I think it's pretty bad odds that someone's going to guess who our special guest is, but I'm excited about it.
Me too. I can't believe it.
So that's
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a mess.
No, you're going to be great. Do you want to read some questions off Instagram?
Yeah, let's do it. Sorry for waiting, Instagram, but Patreons are first class members here. All right, we've got a question from Brownish Spider _, and the question is, are there more wheels in the world or more doors? That's a tricky one because there's lots of doors, tricky. But there's also lots of wheels. And you think, well, cars have 4 wheels, but they also often have 4 doors. And then you think, well, there's micro machines and stuff of that nature, but there's also hotels and there's also dollhouses. So if I had to guess now, I'm going to say wheels. I just have this feeling.
Wheels?
I think there's more wheels than doors. Yeah.
Maybe.
Just wheels, like not just
It's
like
a hard
Tesla wheels, like
question.
wagon wheels or something. Like
I hate this question in a way that it's like it's a great question, and it's funny and it's interesting to think about. And I bet you can't Google it. Maybe you could probably.
My chair
Google
has
it.
wheels, but doesn't have doors.
And there's too much to think about. It's like I'm just trying to come up with an answer is like, I want to know. And then I keep on thinking of a new thing to consider. There's like lots of wheels within like machinery and stuff as well. There are tons of wheels and machinery. And then what is doors of perception? Are there metaphorical doors? And I don't think so.
No,
I think we're
metaphor
just going
means
physical.
When you say "are there," that means physical, really.
Because there's 18 wheelers all over the place.
Yeah. So you're feeling wheels too, huh?
No, I'm feeling doors.
Doors, huh? I'm shocked and surprised. Sometimes you're shocked but not surprised, and vice versa. But I am both shocked and surprised.
You think wheels?
Yeah. Lot of wheels. Just think of all the toy cars throughout history. Little, small. Chairs, office chairs. So like you've got office chairs where there's lots of cubicles or open office space. No doors, just open. Only the executives.
Can't believe this is the question that's making my head hurt. All the topics that we've talked about on the show, and I'm like, God, it's a riddle that can't be solved.
It literally can't. Like if you Googled it, how would they tally the number?
No, they can't tally it. That's why it's driving me crazy.
You could do like how many McDonald's are there, but you can't say how many wheels. Get out of here. All right, do you want to do a Patreon question, or should I do another?
I haven't looked at this yet. I just Googled how many wheels in the world. Should we Google both and see what's more?
Give it a Goog.
Oh my God. It pops right up. When you say how many doors, it just says in the world is one of it's like the first thing that pops up in Google. And the internet's arguing about this. Is
this like today's thing? Did we catch?
This might be.
This is Yanni Laurel. Mm-hmm. This is the blue dress and the gold dress.
This is the blue dress, gold dress. Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Israel, Palestine.
All right. Are there more doors? The unscientific vote based on a tweet. 46 went doors, 53 went wheels. What?
So wheels wins popular vote, but what's the actual number?
That's why it just came up in Google. How many doors are in the world total?
Stuff like this, I think, keeps society alive. I think it's very good to have a trendy question like the blue dress, gold dress thing, or Yanni Laurel, or wheels, or how would you fight 100 horse? Would you fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Because it kind of gets the fight aggression out in a safe way.
Yeah.
And then it connects people too. Or when celebrities
I'm going to say
die.
there's not a good answer, but I'm a doors guy. And I genuinely mean that. And I feel like you're being truthful and saying you're a wheels person too. It would be a weird thing to lie about. Like you actually think it's doors, but you're saying
no, I want it to be doors.
doors.
I would love more doors than wheels. Like more places to enter, less things to run away from. It really says a lot about our culture that there's more wheels than doors. It shows that we run from things instead of accepting and like looking at new opportunities and inviting people to join join in what you are.
Yeah, another thing that I enjoyed recently. Did you see the daylight savings thing? That
everyone loves that, right? That they're getting rid of it, where it stays to one time forever.
I saw one doctor make some tweet. Some doctor that I follow is like, "This is gonna screw up children's circadian." And I was like, unfollow. I don't
having
care.
It change is gonna.
I don't know what he said. Whatever this person said, I was like, are you just trying to be a contrarian or something?
Yeah.
Like,
which I respect the con.
Changing their clocks.
I think if I didn't already do you feel like if you didn't already have a history of putting stuff out there, you could purchase a lab coat, figure out an angle, and then get on Rogan or get on get Dark Horse or something just by being credentialed with the contrary view. It's just so sticky. Being the 1 out of 10 dentist that says Colgate sucks or whatever.
I mean, just tell people that they don't need to floss anymore.
Yeah.
That's
well, our ancestors actually wouldn't have
flossed
flossed with anything. Like there's people that suggest that you would, strip off a line off of a pine tree, but no archaeological evidence really points to us flossing at all. But look at our ancestors; they didn't have dentists. They didn't need tooth replacements. They had a healthy oratory system, which I talk about in my book. But basically with the new, I lost it. But
it's perfect because, and you make a case that flossing's actually bad for you. So not only, so you as the receiver of this information, like not only did you just get everything that you wanted in life, which is to not floss ever again. Like you just got approved by a person with credentials to never floss again, a reason to do it. And you know something other people don't, and everyone else is doing this stupid thing that's actually bad for them. and that's such a sellable gem. Yeah. Become the anti-flossing dentist. You'll sell a zillion copies of a book and everything else. Yeah. Just think about what people want that goes against like what they're supposed to do. Inconvenient things that people don't want to do, and then think of a really verbally fluent, fanciful, science-y sounding reason to just not do anything about something that you should do something about.
Yeah, the food in between your teeth actually produces microbiomes, which help in naturally cleaning in between the teeth. Now you might be asking, what is a microbiome? Well, think of a large biome. Micro, it's a smaller version of that. How small? That's where it gets tricky. Microbiomes can range from in between the size of an atom to a size of up to 60 atoms. Now, you're probably wondering, how I've been thinking of this bit that I don't know how to do yet, but like how you can make
that's where it gets tricky. Please put that's where it gets tricky in the bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. But basically the bit or the character is scientists that steamrolls you by using the phrase or using the word now. So you'd be like, so your mouth contains over 100 individual teeth. Now, what you have to remember is that when you're brushing, you're not actually hitting all of them. You can use an electric toothbrush or you can use a handheld one. Now, what you have to remember is that teeth brushing didn't really come around until the late 80s. Now, what...
Oh, that's fantastic.
But with different sentences, but you get it. Like you glue it together with the...
I love it.
Now.
Don't just get it, I love it. Do we have another Instagram question?
Of course we do. We've got a buttload of them. What? Did someone ask? 2 people asked the wheels and doors thing. That's crazy. Okay. Have to skip that one because we said we wouldn't do any psychedelic ones this episode.
Oh, the reason why, by the way, since some of your hearts just sank to the floor when you heard that, it's because we want to do a special psychedelic question only episode coming soon. We did one psychedelic episode this year. We're going to have more in season 2. We're going to have a bicycle day episode coming up really soon. And then probably quarterly, we'll try to do a psychedelic episode. So we'll do in a few months, then we'll do a psychedelic Q&A. And then in 6 months, we'll do a DMT episode is the current plan for that. More psychedelic content. But the thing is, guys, is we are trippy and we talk about psychedelic-ish ideas all of the time, which is way cooler than understanding the amount of MDMA you're supposed to take or something like that. Like, who cares?
Yeah, but we'll get to it. Don't worry. So here's a great question from Nico.Knee. What kind of technology do you think will actually be widely adopted in our daily lives in the next 20 years? Like we have with smartphones now. For example, we could say augmented reality, virtual reality, self-driving cars, brain implants, entire robotic limbs by choice for practical purposes. Ha ha ha. That's the emoji there, etc., etc. I mean, things that are the norm now would have gotten a nah, man, 25 years ago, which is true. The touchscreen, smartphones, social media, HD video, streaming, news feeds, even personalized news feed. What if it was a nude feed? What if we only did nude feeds? I'm saying that's coming in the next 20 years, nude feeds. But news feeds, that would have been crazy to think that tabloids for regular people was norm, that we all are in tabloids for ourselves. But what do you think is going to be a technology in the next 20 years that's going to be regular, baseline, normal ass thing of we can go positive or negative, like gas masks or something?
Well, my brain, believe it or not, was going pretty optimistic. I'm pretty optimistic about self-driving cars for 20 years.
Yeah.
But it might take that full 20 years. I'm pretty optimistic about the expansion of like nuclear energy, getting away from fossil fuels, so solar increasing quite a bit. I guess that's not specific enough. And I think a thing that I'm probably wrong about would be I could see crypto taking off, but I'm at the moment a bit of a doubter in a lot of
20 years. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
But whether it's decentralized,
I remain unsold, but I'm not ignoring it as a thing with lots of potential.
It's tough to get really excited about crypto when you don't have a lot of capital. I get people with lots of capital being excited by it because it's a playground and you can like 10x your money and, oh no, I lost 5x, but that's okay because I gained 20x and now I'm moving it. And I can see that totally being fun. But when you're like, oh, I can put $100 in and oh no, it went to 80. Oh, it's 110 now. Oh, it went to 75. That's not that fun. You got to have lots of monies to have fun with that world, I think.
Yeah, I would like to see how crypto leads to more community and less selfishness of like
quick
day
buck
trading-ish, quick buck, lottery ticket. Tell me how it builds roads. Tell me how it leads to more cooperation and altruism, which is not only what we are actually built for, believe it or not. We are social animals that need that, but it's going to be necessary for our survival if we take everything. I'm no fan of the government and taxes and everything else, but I don't see crypto doing potholes, etc.
Yeah.
But
wouldn't it be great if it was harder to fail than succeed? Like where society is so altruistic and there's so many like support structures that you would have to try really hard to fuck up. But now it's just so easy to fall into the gravity well of losing money and things getting more expensive. And
yeah, I guess that's what like movies have wrong. Like in movies, you need the Joker or something, or the Riddler or something to undermine Gotham City to break it. Where in the real world, it's like all you can do to keep the lights on in Gotham City without an evil villain. Just let it. It'll just collapse it on itself if you just let it do its thing for long enough.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't need Batman. You need fiscal responsibility and
yeah. Oh, I hope quantum computing will be.
You think quantum computing
mainstay, and that probably won't even be a thing
to put that on there.
Yeah,
but but you know way more about computers than I do. I don't know shit.
That's still very little, though. I mean, I know that the quantum computer, instead of having a 0 and a 1 as the options, it has a third state, which is superposition 0, 1 at the same time. So that can just amplify so much, like from the ground up exponentially, having 3 variables in the bit as opposed to, like, what is it called? A qubit, I think, instead of just a regular bit. That would make being able to calculate something by brute force so easy, to just give it all the like possible options until it cracks it, which opens up a whole new can of worms, because then you can break encryptions easier. But then we're going to have, it's the whole Red Queen thing again. The arms race of encryption with qubits will be pretty nuts. Not like it already isn't, but it'll get even more nuts, and computers will be even faster, and there's going to be even more bad actors acting on that, and you'll have to have more things. We waste so much energy, don't we? Imagine how little we'd have to use, so much less energy if there was some more trust.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose since, like gain of function and those sorts of things have been in the ether since all of COVID, I could see, it's not something that concerns me at the moment, but I could see a world where if things advanced enough where you could just more easily have your own labs and stuff like that. I'm not overly concerned. I was just trying to think, since I went so optimistic, I was trying to think, well, what's like a really bad thing, like the suitcase nuke sort of scenario where just like a couple bad actors, like things just get powerful enough where like a person can just ruin everything.
Or what about even unforeseen bad thing? Like right now we can imagine that bad thing, but what if there's some kind of not even new virus, but something else that we don't even know what to call it. So we put it in the family of viruses, even though it's technically not that. We're like, we don't know. It's just coming and attacking our systems, but it's not a virus, so we can't treat it the same way we would a virus. We got to come up with a whole new thing to get this little alien thing. But let's switch back to Optimus. I like the Optimus thinking of it.
I'm honestly struggling to think of like worse. I mean, bombs are as big as they need to be already. You don't need.
You can blow up the whole earth like a core of a rotten apple.
Yeah, I'm somewhat excited about there being a greater demand for cleaner, more efficient energy. I think a lot of technologies could be improved there.
I hope we're going that way, but also are the big oil people just holding out to squeeze the last cent out of it? But I don't really understand that stuff. I know that it's not as efficient yet or something, but you have to take the loss first before you can get to where it is more efficient, something like that.
All that I know, I think I've shared this before. My first girlfriend was a geochemist. I've told you this, right? Like at MIT, and then was going to be a professor, and then ended up taking an industry job working for Exxon, or I don't know. She's in Houston. She went.
Sounds like Exxon.
She went down there to help them like sample rock to figure out like, oh, this would be a good place to drill for oil. And, PhD in geochemistry from MIT, one of the greatest institutions in the planet. And she did that for like 10 years or something for them. Maybe not even. And then I saw her like just before COVID. I swung in to visit, And she's like, yeah, they just gave me a different position now because they're not looking for oil anymore.
Now
They're
I just update their TikTok.
Looking for
I get
oil.
$200K a year, but wait, she just does what now? What's the new position you said?
Some other, I guess they were just like, we like having you here and you're smart. So we'll just give you this other job that she had to learn. She doesn't use her degree anymore because they're just done looking for oil.
Oh.
And that's something that you don't hear about on the news. They're just like, yep, no, it's gone.
Oh, damn.
We're not looking.
Well,
And
that's one of those situations that you wish you knew less, but also it's hopeful because it means they have to, necessity is the mother of innovation. They have to do it there. Someone had another question that I wanted to get to where,
cool.
This is, but where did it go? Where is it?
Can I do one?
Did they delete it? Yeah, you do it. This is Dead Air Bear over here. This happened in KLBJ Radio in Austin. The Carissa, who was one of the producers of the show and occasionally was on mic, she was responsible for the radio station that day. She had the keys and was supposed to go in and turn all the shit on, and she overslept, and there was like 4 hours of dead air on the KLBJ station, and from there on they called her the Dead Air Bear. And she made a costume for it and everything. The Dead Air Bear is here.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
Wonder Books on Patreon and Dustin Bennett, similar questions. So Dustin asked, what is the best font? I like Calibri. Is that how you pronounce it?
Dothraki, Calibri.
With a tie for second with Helvetica and
Helvetica's
Arial Black.
Damn good. Arial Black, good.
Well, I knew this would be a perfect Ramin question. Listeners may not know, if you follow us on Instagram and we see little highlights and we have subtitles and that font, that's not just like selected from a menu. Ramin hand draws that. That's a Ramin. Those are
original
Ramin original.
Ramin Bold 3 is the name, I think.
That's
you
incredible.
like that? Try Ramin Thin and Ramin Thin 2. I'm not even protective about my font. Like some people in the past have just asked if they could have it. I'm like, yeah, sure, you can have it.
Really?
Yeah.
We got to put some mum stickers on Instagram for the stories so they can find little honey bears and stuff like that to put them on when they share, because also with Spotify or YouTube or whatever, you can put timestamps. So now anyone can link. It used to be, you used to need 10,000 followers to link on Instagram, but now anyone listening to the show can just find the part that they like and link in their stories so that their followers can do things. It'd be fun to have little mum stickers that they can add to it.
I'm going to get some up there. I lost focus. I'm like, I'll make a honey bear licking the honey. And no, I'll make a visionary like radiate. No, I'll make a lunatic biting his. And then I just never make one because
that's okay.
Focus is
you
tough
do so
for me.
much.
I need to figure something out.
You're crushing it as far as I can tell, but I don't live in your brain.
No, thank God. You'd kill yourself and then I'd have a dead Shane in here. Yeah, he moved in and then killed himself.
Wonder Books also asked, Ramin, do you save the same colors you use a lot as swatches so they're easy to grab, or do you make them new each time?
I normally use the swatch and then I adjust from there, but I found it's helpful to start with a set of limitations, because if you open up everything is like, okay, the line width can be any width and you can use any color, and the piece is not a square. It could be any shape. It could be a triangle. You're fucked. It's like, it could be about anything. Like, what is you need some limitation. So it's like 7 colors. The line width is 3. It's going to be a square, and that's what we're working with, baby.
That's amazing. I almost didn't ask this because it's, I was like, I don't. It's a good question. People even relate, but it is a good question, and that's solid life advice. that you just got from your color choosing approach. That is just like throw little constraints on this is, us creative types. I know the most depressed I ever get is when I am like, okay, now what will my next special be about? Because there's too many ideas.
FOMO.
It's
just so much FOMO for, what if I pick the wrong thing though? And then as a result, you pick nothing, which is worse than just picking the one thing, which ultimately you wanted just to focus. That's what we're after. We're after the feeling of focus and being in the zone. Like whether it's, I should have done it about dinosaurs, not baskets. Baskets is boring. But you might find that baskets are fascinating. They're made of threaded wood. It's a blanket on it. It's got some sandwiches inside. Some bears are going to come swipe at it.
So we might do another Q&A episode as the bonus one for April. Right now, we haven't done this yet, but we're by the time that you're listening to this, Patreon thing, we're doing a year-end focus group with people on Patreon. I don't know how many. We'll pick 10 or something like that to get some feedback on the show and whatnot for people on there over Zoom. You get to meet us and the team, and we're thinking of maybe doing bonus show about the show in April, but otherwise we'll do more Q&A things. Here's another one that I had, which is this is from Shannon Simon.
Oh yeah, Shannon Simon artist, right?
At Shannon Simon artist, Too Easy No Worries, is flying from Sydney, Australia to Mind Under Fest. She's already locked in. She's already on Discord, lining up carpooling and everything else. She's going to be doing live painting.
Damn.
Very exciting. There's going to be awesome people there to meet the MUMies. But anyway, she says, if you had to eat the same meal every day for a year, what would you choose? Would you go responsible adult or unsupervised kid at a birthday party?
Same thing every year. So one food.
Every day for a year.
Every day for a year. Would I go super healthy? Maybe. Like my first instinct is to just get pizza, right? But then eventually, if you have to pick one thing, you're going to get sick of it eventually. So you might as well go the healthy route.
You get other stuff, right? You just have to have like one meal a day of this meal.
Can you read the question again? Because I imagine
if you had to eat the same meal every day. Oh, so you're saying all 3 meals every day?
Yeah. So you would get tired of anything you pick instantly. Would I try the carnivore diet? Just only eat T-bone steaks or something.
Steak's the only thing that I can think of if it was like you have to eat one meal each day of the same thing. I could eat steak every day. That's the only thing I can imagine.
Either way, it's a rough
every day.
It's a rough hand to be dealt if you only get one food.
I feel like
I would rather not need food than just one food every day. That makes sense. I wish there was days off where I could just take a pill and not have to eat stuff.
There has to be some constraints because you should get a side and everything. It's a meal. So yeah, I think I'd do steak and eggs because sometimes I would still eat the eggs for breakfast and steak at a different. Then
That's what a guy in the 50s ate anyway.
Handle that.
It just was the diet, I think. And occasionally you eat like a Jell-O mold with some pieces of bread in it or whatever was in those awful recipes on the back of books.
And if I just got one extra thing for a kid's party thing, I think I'd go like maybe just Jolly Ranchers.
Interesting.
Something that I would have one of each day or a few of each day. Yeah, Jolly Ranchers.
Hopefully we don't have to do this in the future as a callback to this question.
Jolly Ranchers is like Jolly Ranchers for me is, they or at least they try to put things in pain pills so like you can't just snort it. You could, or it won't work or whatever. So you can only take one every 8 hours. That's what Jolly Ranchers are like for me. If it's like a chewy spree, I'll just tear through the whole thing and end up like having a stomach ache for the rest of the day. But Jolly Ranchers, they have they're hard to get through.
What do they come in nowadays? I remember there was the sticks. There's the little individually wrapped ones, but I couldn't tell you.
Individual wrapped.
Are they in the impulse
They come in
buy
all
aisle?
sorts of things.
I haven't seen them in ages.
Yeah, they come in all sorts of things. The Jolly Rancher is doing very well for itself, I believe.
It's interesting how
I think they've expanded.
Do you ever like looking in the grocery store and thinking of like who buys that? Like who buys blueberry Frankenstein cereal or whatever, and then you notice that it does get replenished, so someone is buying it, and that's with everything they stock that you've seen continuously stocked. Someone buys it because otherwise they wouldn't keep reordering the inventory. So I don't know. That seems like just like again a stonery thought, but.
What's your meal?
What's my meal every day? Damn. Whatever. I'll just have to pick pizza, huh? I'll do a pepperoni pizza with a side of, maybe I'll just put a little side salad in there. Keep things, keep things a little bit healthy so I don't die.
Yeah. I'm more of a sausage pizza guy. I like Hawaiian, but I can't eat it every day.
Hawaiian's great.
Actually, Shannon also asked on another post, what's your favorite color? Since we were talking about palettes and fonts.
It's been purple for a while. Used to be blue, and then it became purple, and now it's still purple.
I think I'm an orange guy.
That's why our colors are orange purple on our show. It works perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. Did you want to do one for Instagram? I think we're probably about time.
Let's do a couple. Let's just do a couple.
Sure.
So, Megan _ do you find it helpful to have more or less knowledge / info about frightening topics like info equals control or ignorance equals bliss? Generally, I like to have more info. Something about, even if it's grim, there's some comfort in having more knowledge about it. I don't know why that is.
Absolutely. I mean, there's definitely different, like with the stuff with Ukraine and Russia right now. I'm just like, nope, I don't have the space right now. I don't have the capacity. It's not my, I recognize that the amount of things that I would need to learn to have like 101 knowledge.
Yeah, what's NATO?
It's like,
what's a sanction?
Yeah, it's like, it's just, it's...
What's Bay? Zelensky is Bay. What is Bay?
It's not worth me commenting on. Like COVID and stuff is in my wheelhouse. It's all stuff. I was interested in this stuff before COVID happened. I reached out to past guests I'd had talking about viruses and stuff when it first happened. I don't fuck around with politics. I've had like two or three political scientists on the show ever. Usually it's not talking about like the branches. Here's the branches of like the things that they teach you in high school and stuff. And I just fucking hate that stuff so much. Maybe I'll take the time to learn, but usually I'd prefer to know, like with wellness stuff. Like a good example, Megan's a very good friend of mine, by the way. Lovely, very smart, hilarious. But we talk all the time. She was on. She has MS. She's
multiple sclerosis.
She digs into
sclerosis.
Yeah, she has. So she digs into health stuff quite a bit. She's probably asking because she's wondering if she digs in a little too much sometimes.
Yeah, like WebMDing yourself on, like, if you have a little sniffle and you have AIDS plus cancer plus a third thing that hasn't been named yet.
It's always a balance with her of like, how much of this is me turning myself into a hypochondriac and how much is this me needing to take responsibility for my health because doctors only have so much time for a given individual, blah, blah, blah. And it's relevant to, I just had Sapolsky on my episode recently, and people on Discord and other places were asking, I recommend all of his books, but there's like A Primate's Memoir is more of an autobiography, and it's a fun, light read that's about him studying baboons. And then there's like the hardest read, which is his book Behave, but the book Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, all about stress, his main popular book. That was one of the most stressful books I've ever read in my life. And it's learning about stress is fucking stressful, because it's like, oh my God, this is like, it's crucial that I relax.
Relax like your life depends on it, because it
relax
does.
Or die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense. Damn. Should we close it with one final one?
You have anything like that for that question too? I guess just generally you like.
I mean, the WebMD, I don't do it much because I know that it doesn't lead anywhere good. But yeah, there's anything that you go on WebMD or Google or Reddit, like look up what you think you're experiencing, and you always pick the worst. And I'm not even hypochondriac, or is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, hypochondriac.
I don't. Yeah. I'm probably more in the opposite direction. I should probably go to the doctor more.
Yeah,
but who has the time?
To be that way as well.
And it costs too much. And why am I filling up seats?
We were talking off air about how much we hate forms.
Yeah, forms stink. Name again. This is like the 8 billionth time. And then the date, and then address. Like address, name is the same for most of your life. For most people, some people change it a few times. But yeah address, like a handful of different addresses throughout your life. But man,
yeah. Now that we have our Lunatics and we're doing the festival and everything, we're starting an LLC or two for Mind Under Matter, and it's like it feels awesome to like I'm taking a bookkeeping class. It feels awesome to be becoming like I'm a grown up. Like I'm doing business things. Wow. But at the same time, like, it's amazing how fast you can, like on a Too Easy Tuesday, I've checked off things that took me 10 minutes to do that have been haunting my life for months because it's a fucking form or something.
I'm like that with emails. I got to fully automate my emails or something, or hire someone to be me, because that's a real big problem. But yeah, that's one positive to the dystopian future of a chip in your brain, or them just having the ability to just scan your DNA and just know if it's you. No privacy anymore, but imagine never having to log in again. Yeah. No more logins or forms. Just by being you, you are identified with what you have, whether that means like your social credit score hit a thing or your passport is denied for a week. You're still you. You don't lose your stupid little card with your printed photo of your face on it. That's going to be so primitive. They used to carry around little cards with a little photo of themselves on it.
Yeah, and why would you, like, to make an appointment at the doctor's office? You don't have to do that when they just are. When my toilet has sensors on it that are, it's a physical every day. They're already doing that with COVID and measuring wastewater. You know, have you seen that?
I've heard about it, but I haven't like really looked into what it means.
I didn't look into it a lot, but yeah, you can measure like different levels and get a sense of how much COVID is floating around in the population without
fun job.
Because it's yeah. Well, you don't like. Who knows how many people are getting tested when there's like most people now are like, oh no, maybe it's COVID, maybe it's whatever. Cause everyone's just, since the war started, everyone's like, COVID, schmovid, whatever. We got a flashy bing, like I can watch explosions happening on TV that are killing a tiny fraction of the people that are dying in like a city on a given day from COVID, but it's scarier because and of course it's scary and everything, but anyway, everyone's like over it. But the cool thing is that if you can just measure wastewater, you can be like, oh, there's a problem in this area right now, and that's what I want to have happen. Rather than getting a physical, I just want to like my toilet ping me or my toothbrush tell me something's up, like, hey, you got this going on. Like, okay, you take care of it. You take care of it, toilet. Just you let me know when I need to do something. I don't want to schedule unnecessary doctor visits just for a checkup. You don't like checkups almost never do anything and are usually a waste of time and money, but sometimes they discover something that you need. But in the future, you won't need to be doing all of that. It'll just be done for you.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
There's a technology I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Smart everything.
Toilet doctor.
Yeah. A smart everything. Smart toilet, smart fridge, smart pants, everything. Just taking you out of the equation. Like, I don't have to be a living life that decides. Yeah, the pants is like, ooh, your knees, your joints are a little like stiff today. Like, you should probably do this stretch. I recommend this video from Yoga with Adrian 2028.
I hope they come up with a clever name for smart pants.
Yeah. Smacks. That's what they'll be called.
Do you want to do the
final question?
One?
Yeah. So this is a great question. This is from _Duju. Let's see what Duju's. Oh, Dustin Bennett. Did we already do a Dustin Bennett question?
Maybe. Whatever. He's on top of it.
Okay, cool. I like this one, writes Duju. What's wrong with you? I asked a child to ask a question, and that's what they came up with. I think you can roll on that one. So the question is, what's wrong with you?
So imagine a child just comes up and asks, what's wrong with you? Oh, kid.
I know mine.
Some stories.
I would say mine is I have bad memory when it comes to stuff that would behoove me that I learn. Like, so you have an epiphany, like, oh, I need to start like meditating more. I should exercise more. I should start tackling the hard task more straight on more. All of these things that we self-help and we realize about ourselves, my memory for it is very short and I slip again. I never integrate something permanently. So I'm forgetful when it comes to being helpful for myself.
Worst thing for me, I mean, my memory is, my God, my memory for, my assistant Rihanna, who also does our social media and stuff, the Mind Under Matter mom, the mom, and call her Rihanna Banana because people call her Rihanna. In fact, I didn't know the proper way to say her name for maybe like the first 2 years that we worked together. Like, we're very good friends. We talk all of the time. Didn't know her name.
Yeah, it's like calling me Ramin for 8 years.
And she wouldn't correct me. I would call her Rihanna all of the time. That's a pretty brutal one. Still don't know people's names at Pickleball that I've played with a lot. Always struggle with, like, I'm reading neuroscience stuff again. It's like, the ventral medial prefrontal cortex. What does that one do again? Like, I can put the concepts together of like, oh, this region does that and interacts with this other region that does this. And that combination of these two things makes this really interesting thing happen. But remembering the specific name of the things really hard. But my biggest thing of what's wrong with me is, and it's relevant to Too Easy Tuesdays, is not like everyone wants to go from 0 to 60. It's just getting from 0 to something.
Yes.
That's it.
Ooh, I gotta remember that one. I'm trying to do 60 something all day, and then I'm like in shambles because I'm like, I can't do 60. What am I gonna do?
Once I'm at something, I just start doing 60 naturally anyway, or working myself towards 60, and I got momentum and it feels good and I'm flowing and I go and it's easy peasy. Like when I was strength training, I was going 3 times a week, and like, it's that first trip to the gym. It's that first anything. That's why I started with the music on Too Easy Tuesday. It was like, it was like 10:30 at night and I hadn't done it and I was putting it off all day. I was productive and doing every other thing except my Too Easy. And then finally I was just like, just watch 1 minute. That's it. Just watch 1 minute of this thing. And I was like, that's okay. That's not bad. All right, just keep going. Just watch like 5 minutes. And then I'm in it and I'm like, we have some interaction that made me laugh. Like, all right. And then we cue a band. So I'm looking up a couple songs and stuff. And now I'm listening. We're talking about our childhood music. I'm like listening to an Offspring song that I haven't heard in 15 years and having fun. Hey man, I'm really okay. and then I've been working on it. I've now put like 10 hours into it. Say Thursday in 2 days I've probably worked 10 hours on it.
Nice.
And
0 to 1 to 5 to 10 to 60.
Exactly. 0 to something. That's what my Too Easy Tuesdays are for. And that was I just needed that little bit. And then I was rolling. That's my biggest thing. Always what's wrong with me.
I gotta get that tattooed on my everything. Like not so much that it just becomes black so that I can't read it, but enough so that where there's space to where I can always see it. So like maybe half my body is that tattoo.
So
0 to something. Yeah, I'm gonna get that tattooed, or I'm gonna print it out and put it on my office wall.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is fun. We had tons of fun laughs. I laughed extra hard on this episode. These question episodes are really good.
Yeah, it involves the best part of the show, the fans. You, the viewer, Time Magazine's Person of the Year 2015. You. We've installed this aluminum mirror type of thing on the front of the magazines. You can see a distorted reflection of your face. Wow, Person of the Year, me. No, we do love our fans, though. I can't think of better fans. I mean, who's better? NPR fans, boring. Skankfest fans, it's too much. It smells bad. Ours, good.
Ours are good.
And maybe Skankfest fans smell great, but just, I don't know. It seems like they would smell a little worse. The jacket, they've worn the jacket too many times. Whoever came up with that name and then was like, and we nailed it. Do we agree? Yeah.
We'll call it Skankfest. We all are agreeing to that.
Yeah.
Yep. Genius. I can't find, there.
Are you doing Skankfest? Did that already happen? Are you not at liberty to say?
I was booked originally. I
don't even know when it is.
I was asked to do it last fall.
It's in fall. Gotcha.
But who knows? Maybe in the future.
Yeah.
What a name.
Is Mom at Skankfest next year? We'll see. Will we be at Coachella? We'll see.
We'll see. We'll definitely be at Mind Under Festival. So get in our muff. Sign up on mindunderpod.com. We have a tab just for the festival where you can enter in your email. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be like BYO everything. You can camp for free, but also we'll have glamping and things like that available for rent. It's like 20 minutes from downtown, so you can get anything that you need.
Gatorade, Powerade, you'll find it.
On Discord, it's going to be, I've asked people what I should charge and what they'd be willing to pay, and the number that I had in my mind was exactly in between what all of the feedback I've gotten so far. So I think it's going to be a reasonably priced thing, and it's going to be awesome. And get on Patreon, because everyone that was on Patreon in the first year of the show, which is ending April is when we start season 2. Anyone that was on Patreon in the first year of the show gets a special opportunity as well as helping out you boys.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Keep on salivating, honeys. Ding.